and for my field observation site visit, I decided to travel up to Peebles, Ohio to visit the Serpent Mound. Serpent Mound is recognized as a historical site, and here before you is the historical marker that sits on the space where Serpent Mound is located. Also, what is interesting is Serpent Mound was the first privately funded archaeological preservation in the United States by Frederick Pittman's work and the research that his team carried forward. Also, what's really kind of interesting is Serpent Mound is one of the biggest mound effigies in North America as well. Serpent Mound tour is pretty much a self-guided tour. They do have other tours where they give the more historical facts and archaeological evidence and research. But you can actually just come up anytime. I believe it's Wednesday through Sunday from 10 to 5 and visit the site and only pay $8, which is kind of nice. And it's pretty low-key, and there weren't a lot of people when we went, and so that was nice. The welcome plaque here kind of gives you a map of the Serpent Mound, where it's located, and then the 3 burial sites. And this other plaque of the Serpent Mound is just kind of a dedication from when Harvard University bought the land and their transferal to this land to the Ohio State Archaeological Historical Society. So it was kind of gifted them. And so that's just kind of commemorating the spot there. A really interesting fact is the Serpent Mound is on top of what is known as the Serpent Mound impact crater, which was hit by a meteorite some 256 million years ago. The crater, almost 9 miles across, the bedrock in the center of the crater has more thrust upwards between 400 to 900 feet above its original position, while an outer ring of bedrock has dropped from at least 200 feet to as much as 800 feet. In all, about 7 cubic miles of rock was smashed. So it was just it was kind of mesmerizing just standing in this sacred area where you just had this really immense energy kind of around you. So who built Serpent Mound? In the late 19th century, Frederick Pittman, an archaeologist at the Harvard University, conducted the earliest scientific excavations of Serpent Mound. Since these first excavations efforts, archaeologists have attributed Serpent Mound to one of 2 Native American cultures, the early woodland Adena Culture, which was from 500 BC to 200 AD, and the late prehistoric Fort Ancient Mound Culture, which is from 100 to 1650 AD. The other question to look at is, what is an effigy? Since Serpent Mound isn't a place of burial, it was a place to build, to worship, or to do ceremony. So an effigy mound is a geoglyph or symbol made of earth. The most common effigy mounds in North America are animal effigies. Ohio has only 2 well-documented effigy mounds, Serpent Mound and Alligator Mound. So Serpent Mound was built around 320 BC. The Serpent Mound was constructed from clay, ash, and stones, then topped with a layer of soil, now covered with grass. The world's largest surviving effigy mound, the effigy stands an astonishing 1,376 feet in length, well over the length of 4 football fields. Much mystery remains behind who built the mound and when it was built. The most research points to the Indian culture. And then later on, the Fort Ancient people came and settled and maybe modified the mound. The mound is located on a high plateau overlooking Ohio Bush Creek in Adams County, Ohio, about 73 miles east of Cincinnati. It's on the site of an ancient meteor impact dating to around 300 million years ago. And one of the beliefs is the people purposely built this mound there because of this energy from this impact crater. These are some close-up pictures of the mound as I was standing next to it. The first picture on your left-hand side is like an actual, like, right next to the mounds. We are not allowed to walk on the mounds. It's because of it being a sacred site. So there's a path that you can walk around, and but it comes right up next to the mound. So you can, like, you literally have the mounds on top of you. And they stand almost about, I'd say, 2-3 feet high. I mean, it's pretty surreal and pretty neat. I really enjoyed visiting this site and being on the grounds and land of this monument. So at one point there were modifications done to Serpent Mound by the people. They're not really sure if it was the Adena culture or if it was Fort Mound culture. But when they did this survey on the ground, they noticed that it had been completely chopped off and moved away. Why, they don't know, but it was kind of interesting to read about and see. And this is a plaque of Frederick Pittman, and talks about his research and work done at Serpent Mound and around the surrounding area, which can be found in the little museum that we got to tour before actually going out to the mound. And I'll be showing you some of those pictures here in a little bit. There are many legends that attribute to Serpent Mound from different indigenous tribes. One in particular that is recognized at the site is the legend of the Shawnee. And they believe their people first came to these lands thousands of years ago. And so there on the plaque tells the little story about it. And it represents with this coiling tail of the serpent here. And that's what you see up in this right-hand corner, is this curling of the tail. So this is the other end of the Serpent Mound. And these are just some artifacts found at Serpent Mound. They have a little house that has a museum, and you can actually go in and see these. Some of them are actually out on display, so you can touch them. I didn't. In my tradition, without asking permission of somebody, you don't touch a sacred object. And these are just some arrowheads that were found at the site, different tools that were used by the people there. And this is both in the Adena culture and in the Fort Ancient culture people. These right here are the 3 different burial mounds, and it shows what's within them that are on the site. These mounds are actually there, and through their use of particular types of archaeological surveying and sightseeing, these are what are buried within these 3 different mounds, which I will show you here in a second. But above is like a story of each one of those mounds. So the first burial mound that you will see on the site is an Adena burial mound, which is between 600 BC and 100 AD. And it's the largest burial mound that they have on the site. The second burial mound is also attributed to the Adean mound people, and this one's a little bit smaller, And it also is next to where there would have been a village, and what the village might have looked like is put on this plaque here. The last burial mound is the Fort Ancient burial mound, which would have been dated to 1000 to 1650 AD. So the astronomical alignments at Serpent Mound are pretty interesting. There is a whole area where Serpent Mound lines up with the sun and the moon during different solstices and equinoxes. There's also a lot of alignments with different stars and star systems. So these are kind of different maps on each area of what they've found as far as astronomy in the area. The really, I thought, was the neatest astronomical alignment at Serpent Mound was with the constellation Draco. The design of the mound also matches the shape of the constellation Draco with the star Theban, Alpha Draconis, which served as the North Pole star from the 4th to 2nd millennium BC, lining up with the first curve in the snake's torso from the head. This alignment suggests another purpose for Serpent Mound, a kind of compass that helps determine true north. Serpent Mound also has a connection with the sun, and the curves of the tail line up with the 4 major solar events, the summer and winter solstices, and the spring and fall equinoxes. The mound has been theorized to be of astronomical significance to its constructors. The head of the serpent aligns with the sunset of the summer solstice, while the tail aligns with the winter solstice. Moving from the head to the tail, the 3 curves in the serpent's body align with the sunrise of the summer solstice, the autumn equinox, and the spring equinox, respectively. This last slide is one I found online that shows a decoration for the winter solstice and kind of pinpoints where exactly the serpent moves in and out of the landscape there. So I thought it was pretty neat and wanted to share. I really enjoyed visiting the site and being able to spend the day there and just really be a part of this ancient wisdom and structure from the people. I hope you all enjoyed my slides, and I hope you learned something, and thank you for listening and watching. Take care.